Welcome back to Brand Shops, the podcast where we help small businesses make smarter decisions about their business and branding. I'm Zack Lemear, here with Chris Duhaime, and today we're diving into one of the most trustworthy and compassionate brand archetypes, the caregiver.
And if you've been following along, we've covered the innocent, the explorer, the sage, the hero, the rebel, the magician, the everyman, the lover, and last episode we did the jester. Each of these archetypes has its own unique strengths, but today we're focusing on the caregiver. That's the brands that are nurturing, protecting, and supporting its customers.
Yeah, we've gone through a lot of them. We're rounding the bend. We think we have 3 more left out of the 12. So today's the caregiver. The caregiver brands are built on compassion, service, and trust. If your business is about helping, healing, or providing support to others, this episode is definitely for you.
Yeah, and the caregiver archetype is all about service, selflessness, putting others first. These brands exist to help people feel safe, cared for, and supported.
Yeah, and that's why some of the most well-known caregiver brands exist in industries like healthcare or wellness or insurance or nonprofits and personal care. Think about brands like Johnson & Johnson, Tom's, Campbell Soup, Dove. I mean, if you're thinking about insurance, State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Their whole thing is about caring and being nurturing and being supportive.
That's right. For me, Johnson & Johnson's a great example. Their slogan, "For all you love," perfectly captures the caregiver archetype. Their marketing is all about trust, safety, and looking after your family's well-being.
Yeah, I mean, they even have the sub slogans too. I mean, if you think about the baby shampoo and baby products, the no more tears, well, they're really trying to think about the problem of the consumer and meeting them where they live. But there's also Tom's. Their brand is built around giving back and supporting communities. Their 1-for-1 model, which I think I've seen in other places too. I believe Warby Parker does the same thing, where they donate a pair of shoes for every one purchased. It's a perfect example of caregiver branding in action.
It is, totally. So if your brand is all about helping people, fostering kindness, or just making a positive impact, the caregiver archetype could be a good fit for you.
Absolutely. So how the caregiver brand attracts the right customers. Caregiver brands attract customers who value trust. They value kindness and emotional security. These people are often empathetic, community-oriented, looking for brands that make a difference.
Yeah, caregiver customers want that brand that cares about their well-being, their family, their community. They want the products and services that feel safe, ethical, and nurturing. Just making sure you're keeping things like chemicals out of your products, or the way you're producing the products is in a safe manner for the environment. So there's a lot of ways that these brands can capitalize on showing their support for their community and for the world in general.
No, that's an excellent point. It doesn't always have to be for people. It could definitely be for the planet, for your community. That's a great point. There's lots of caregiver brands out there that are careful about that. You know, Dove is a perfect one too. I'm sure we'll talk about that more, but they're always doing those campaigns about loving the body that you're in and all these different things. And so how do caregiver brands speak to their customers? Just like everyone else, messaging is everything. These brands use warm, reassuring language like, "We're here for you," and "helping you care for what matters most," or "like a good neighbor, State Farm is there," or "no more tear shampoo," or "because you deserve the best care. Together we make the world better," things like that.
And typically, caregiver brands are often going to use soft, calming colors like light blues, greens, pastels. Their typography is typically gentle and welcoming, and their imagery is always going to focus on their audience. So people, families, acts of kindness. They want to showcase the people that they're going to be helping protect and save.
This is why brands like Dove and Campbell Soup do so well with caregiver branding. Their marketing is about nurturing and comforting their customers. I mean, I can remember when I was a kid looking at those Campbell Soup's commercials where there's little kids coming in from the snow, and he's actually a snowman, right? And he sits at the table and he's having a warm bowl of chicken noodle soup, and all of a sudden the snowman melts and it's a child underneath, and it's good. Like it's sustaining. It's you're living it, it's very soft colors, very warm lighting. You can transport yourself back to your mom giving you a cookie after, you played out in the snow, or hot chocolate, or these soups that really just warm your soul from the inside and out. And that's a perfect example of how a caregiver brand can communicate.
Yeah, I think the mom one is an interesting one because I know Campbell's did that a bunch with their marketing as well. So having the mom of like football players join them on commercials and things like that, I think that's a nice way to tie everything in, hit a different demographic than maybe they're used to hitting, but still being on brand with that nurturing and comforting of the mother. So These caregiver brands are powerful, but some of the common mistakes that you want to avoid is just being too passive.
Yeah, caregiver brands focus on supporting others, but that doesn't mean they should be boring or lack confidence. Customers still want to feel inspired by your mission. And that was a great point before. I mean, what a better icon to have for a caregiver than a mom? I mean, it doesn't matter where you're from, what language you speak, or what culture you're from. Everybody understands the nurturing of a mom.
That's right. Another thing to sort of look out for is just over promising care without action. So saying you're going to do something, but not actually doing it. So that could be claiming that you're going to be helping the environment, but you're not actually putting that extra percentage toward that. So if you don't back it up with real support, ethical practices, or community efforts, customers are going to find that out and they're going to lose trust in you.
Right, absolutely. And if it's piecemeal, right? So like say you're a brand like Johnson and Johnson and you do Band-Aids. If you've got the softest Band-Aids that are the most durable, but they also give you a rash, it's not going to sell well, because it's not adhering to the entirety of caregiving, right? They're not thinking about all the little details and you can't trust it anymore, even though it had like 9 out of the 10 things checked. So one more is forgetting to evolve. Caregiver brands often focus on tradition and consistency, but they also need to adapt to changing customer needs and social expectations.
In order to maybe make this work for the small businesses, let's talk a little strategy. If you're listening and thinking, this sounds like my brand, here's how to lean into that caregiver archetype.
Step 1, build trust through authenticity. Customers need to feel safe with your brand. Again, this is why the mom is a perfect icon for Campbell Soup, because nothing feels more safe for most of the people in the world than the care and the nurturing of your mom. But you've got to be transparent, you've got to be ethical, and you've got to be committed to real care and service.
That's right. And show real stories. Caregiver brands do well when they're highlighting real customers, experiences, testimonials, acts of kindness. Your marketing should feel really personal and heartfelt.
And then step 3, offer reassurance and emotional connection. Whether it's through gentle branding, empathetic messaging, or exceptional customer service, your brand should make people feel valued and cared for. Think about hospice even, you've got hospice care workers. It's all about coming in at a very delicate time and taking over someone that's one of the most important people in your life, keeping them in their home so they can feel comfortable. I mean, there's so many pieces and parts to all these. There's so many businesses that could apply to the caregiver archetype.
And one other bonus tip I think is worth mentioning is to align yourself with a greater purpose. So caregiver brands tend to thrive when they're mission centric. So if they're thinking about more than just selling their product or service, but they want to give back. So supporting different charities, advocating for the well-being of a particular type of person or area or animal. Those are just different ways that they can make an impact in the world.
Yeah, and then just like we were talking about earlier about the Dove, where they focus a lot on body positivity. They're not really talking about their ingredients of their soap. They're not talking about making your skin soft. It's about taking care of the skin that you're in because you should love that skin. And so it's beyond their product. It's advocating for well-being, right? And I'm not sure how long they're going to stay on it. And I know companies, corporations of all types will jump on the bandwagon when it's popular. But either way, it works. And I feel like a lot of women probably purchased that product because it did make them feel like they were supported. It did make them feel like they could be happy with the skin that they're in, because everybody, men, women, any gender that you associate with, we all have body issues, right? We all have an issue where we don't feel quite right. Body dysmorphia. They even say people who work out obsessively have sometimes the worst body dysmorphia, even though they probably look the best, but they're constantly obsessing about it. So let's recap. The caregiver brand archetype is all about trust, kindness, and emotional support. If your business thrives on helping people, fostering connection, making a difference, this might be your brand identity.
Right. And to make it work, let's focus on authentic care, emotional storytelling, and a strong sense of purpose. Avoid being too passive, over-promising without action, or resisting change.
So if you're loving this branding deep dive, stay tuned. The next episode, we're talking about the creator archetype. This is one of my favorites. The brand that thrives on innovation, originality, and self-expression.
It's probably only one of your favorites because you think you're one of them.
Oh, I know I'm one of them, baby.
And as always, if you've got value from today's episode, subscribe, leave a review, and let us know your biggest branding questions so we can try to feature them on the upcoming episode.
That's right. And thanks for listening to Brand Chops, where we chop up brands to see what they're made of. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Brand Chops is brought to you by the fine people at Pivot Creative. Pivot Creative is a full-service branding and marketing agency that partners with businesses to build brands that connect so that every dollar you spend is an investment and not an expense. If you need some branding or marketing guidance, a website, a new brand, or want to learn more about one of the topics we cover on the show, please reach out to us at pivotcreative.com. If you know someone that would benefit from learning more from one of our shows, please share the episode. Visit brand-chops.com. And as always, like and subscribe if you find this content to be helpful. See you next time on Brand Chops, where we chop up brands to see what they're made of.